Hello and welcome to Woodshed Reviews, where we look at films old and new, good and bad. On today's show, we're looking at the 1999 Japanese horror film, Audition.
始めよう。
So this was your choice and you made me watch this film again.
Again?
So, it's one of those films that I like, but I don't know if it's a film that I want to watch too many times.
Sure.
If you like, so.
Yeah, I remember back in the day this kind of intrigued me. Back in '99 I went to see it at the cinema.
Okay.
And it was very memorable. There was a big kind of phase of a lot of J-horror films coming out.
So do you want to give the preamble about what Audition is?
Yeah, well, it's basically a tragic romance.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't classed as a horror film in Japan. They class their horror films as something to do with ghost stories or the supernatural.
Okay.
So this is just something bad that happened to normal people.
Okay. Well, I guess the first 2/3 of it could conceivably be a sort of rom-com sort of premise. Maybe you could kind of like you could have tailored it into that, I suppose.
尊敬する女優は？
はい、森光子さんが大好きです。
じゃあ次行こう。
Middle-aged businessman who's lost his wife 7 years ago. He's bringing up his son by himself. His son kind of gives him the okay. Maybe thinks he maybe needs to find someone new.
Yeah, because he's got a kind of lonely aura about him. He's lost his wife, obviously, and he doesn't really want to get back into the dating game.
Yeah, so he goes about a slightly alternative route through a friend of his who's a movie, he's a producer, auditioner, something like that, is he?
Yeah, he puts films together and he suggests holding an audition for a film that will probably not get made.
やっぱり無理かな。だよな。
いや、任せろ。一つだけ方法あるよ。オーディションやるんだよ。
But he's not interested in most of them. He's looking at all the CVs and he comes across this one particular CV that's quite intriguing. Seems to tick the right boxes, and I think it's possibly because she reminds him of his wife that passed away.
And she seems very keen too.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really interested in all the other girls auditioning, but when number 28, Asami, appears, it almost feels like he's auditioning for her.
あなたのような若い女性がそれをきちんと分かっているということが驚きで、この人はこれまでも、そして今も真剣に来てんだなってそう思ったわけです。はい。
That's the kind of basic sort of premise, I suppose, without getting into the horrific stuff.
It's only really in the last act it just goes crazy with
completely,
everything.
Yeah. There's slight sort of things. We see brief shots of her at home, and obviously there's something not quite right. There's something almost supernatural.
Yeah, it's a bit foreshadowing and there's clues that things are not what they seem to be.
なんか裏があるかと思って調べたら誰とも連絡つかないしさ。バイト先の銀座のバーだって名前もわからんぞ。つまり今彼女を知ってる人間とは誰とも連絡がつかないんだ。
There's a sort of unreliable narrator thing going on here as well.
Yeah.
There's dreams within dreams, or who's dreaming about what, and we're flitting in and out of things. So there's a lot kind of going on. There's a lot to kind of dig into and analyse, I guess, for if you're into that kind of thing, which I guess we are. So
We'll give it a go.
I'll give it a go. And we should kind of point out that in some of the scenes where we see Asami in her room, there's a giant sack.
Behind her, usually.
Yeah.
And we do get a jump scare.
There's a point in for the film kind of goes completely in a different direction when after his investigations don't turn up to, anything convincing.
We cut to a point of view
shot, yeah,
of someone wandering frantically through his house, And I think it's Asami. We see her go to his work desk and see the photo of his deceased wife, and it ends on his whiskey.
And then we kind of cut to him coming home to open the decanter. Then we completely go into uncharted territory at this point.
Yeah.
And this is, I guess, where the film kind of turns on a dime. I mean, crikey, where do we start? I mean...
Well, he's knocked out.
He's knocked unconscious from the drink.
He can't speak, he can't move, but he's going to feel everything.
Yeah.
Which is what she wants.
あなたはもう動けない。体は死ぬけど、神経だけは起こしておいてあげます。
While this is happening, we're flitting in and out of other realities, dreams that kind of reveal that maybe he's an unreliable narrator, perhaps.
Yeah, there's different interpretations for sure. It felt like he's been knocked out, so maybe while he's been knocked out, she's been talking about her true past. So maybe he's hearing her voice.
All right, okay.
He's putting images to it.
Yeah.
Because we see scenes that we've seen before, them out on a date, and she seems to be telling him what really happened to her growing up, that she was abused since she was a child, effectively. Yeah. And this feels, to me, it felt like the truth of her story. Mm-hmm. She was definitely an abuse victim for pretty much her whole life.
What he's doing effectively is wrong from the start. He's a nice guy, but what he's doing is wrong. This fake audition process so that he can prey on a young girl effectively.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a bad guy, but then again, does anybody think they're a bad guy? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there's things that kind of come into play that kind of tell you, no, you know, I'm not a bad guy. You know, it was, you know, and this process with auditioning young girls, it's very, I mean, obviously it's become even more kind of prescient, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
In recent years with the Harvey Weinstein stuff, particularly.
So we had this nightmarish hallucination, and then he wakes up from that only to find that he can't move, and Asami's there, kitted out in her kind of butcher's Texas Chainsaw Massacre type outfit.
Yeah. She's got acupuncture needles with her, has she?
Yeah, just going to treat him to acupuncture, foot massage.
次は右足ね。
In the book, she's watching a cooking show and sees somebody using it to cut up a ham bone.
Oh, right, okay.
So she wants to remove his legs. She's successful with one of them. So she got a part after all.
I suppose we should sort of say that, like, as well as kind of like the hallucination part, we kind of go back into a dream within a dream where he wakens up and thinks that what's been happening to him on the floor of his home has been a dream, and he's back to this point where they were first sleeping together on their holiday. Yeah,
so I think the audience kind of breathes a sigh of relief at this point. You think, oh, phew, it was all a dream.
Yeah, whether who's dreaming about what at this point is open to interpretation, I guess.
We are like the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream.
The son comes home and he battles with Asami. He knocks her down the stairs, kills her instantly, breaks her neck.
Well, is she dead? Because she does have a monologue at the end.
Yeah, but obviously you're not going to take that literally, not at this point in the film.
Yeah, because it's a monologue she gave earlier, and this could be just him remembering it. At
what point is he conscious? At what point is he lucid? At what point is he just going away to La La Land? Yeah, I mean, I see it as all these things happened, and it's just because he's taking this drug or whatever. He's right. Yeah, that's another aspect of it. Yeah, definitely. But I think it's open to a lot of different interpretations, and that's all good.
オーディションで女の子をたくさん集めてそれで落として後で連絡してきて結局セックスしたいだけみんな同じ
It's interesting watching it a number of times, and obviously you kind of relate and sympathise to some extent with our protagonist, Ioma. But watching it lately, I find myself also sympathising with Asami. Seeing it from her point of view, you kind of maybe understand her more, even though what she does at the end, it's and what she has
crosses the line, yeah.
Crosses many lines.
Many lines, yeah.
Like when she's sawing through his leg, she's been very playful.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get the chance to be playful as a child.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
She says to him at one point in the film that you can't love anyone else, just me. But that kind of extends to his son as well, so he's not allowed to love his son or
so she
anyone else.
Yeah.
So in her eyes, she's been deceived, and he's just like any other guy.
私の全部あげてもあなたは私の全部にはなってくれないのねみんな同じね
Yeah, it's definitely, you can see it from that point of view, and obviously, like I say, although our main character, sorry, I've forgotten his name, Ioma, is presented as very kind of mild-natured, well-meaning, and he's not kind of like a bad guy as such, but he has done this thing where they're doing this thing for basically scouting for these girls, and
it was his friend's idea, but he has gone along with it.
He's gone along with it at the end of the day, and that's how these things can often happen, you know. If you go with the crowd, or if you don't question what someone's doing.
But at the same time, he's just not interested in any of these girls because they're not mature enough. I mean, they're all young, and he wants someone more mature.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But at the same
he's
time,
gone about it the wrong way, and he's picked the wrong person, I guess. And there's too much. She's come with some baggage. Shall we say?
Just a little bit, yeah. As a J-horror film, this is one that stood the test of time, and it's one I've gone back to over the years, and I think it's just one of the best, so I have to give it a 5.
Okay. I'm going to say torture stuff like this is not really my bag, but this is a prime example of it done well and with purpose and with meaning, and you can kind of like dig into it a little bit, and it's not just the torture for torture's sake. And I do like I really like the kind of build up to it and everything. There's a little bit of reveals here and there, a little bit of mystery. I do like all that kind of stuff. And I think I definitely like it more on my third viewing than I probably did on my first or second. First time I was a little bit like, I wasn't really sure what to make of it. It definitely needs a second or third viewing. So yeah, in the end, I'm glad I rewatched it. I don't think I would have put it on quite so soon if I weren't reviewing it. Yeah. Because you do need to have be ready for it. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. And yeah, I wouldn't have probably given it as much as that before. So
cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd highly recommend it. If you're in the mood for something and you've got the stomach for it, check it out.
Absolutely. I mean, if you like horror films, this is one to watch for sure.
It's a very different kind of horror film, and even not body horror, but a sort of torture sort of horror sort of thing. It's very different from a lot of the films that probably were inspired by this. I mean, I think probably Saw and things like that probably took some inspiration around about that time.
Possibly, yeah. There's an explosion of these type of films, and a lot of them are quite forgettable. They go way too extreme, and if you're interested in watching stuff just for that sake,
that's not what I'm interested in. So I like a little bit more meat on my bones. okay, it's pretty bad, but anyway, that's all we've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed our review, and check out Audition and let us know what you thought of our comments, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
ああ、お疲れ。